My attitude is always, tell me what's next. You know, I'm what they call an early adopter. You know what I mean? I'm ready to learn what's next because I know there's got to be a better way. I mean, I see the things around us and I'm like, this isn't perfect, right? Like, there's got to be a better way. And some people, they're afraid of change, you know? The only people who aren't afraid of change are people who are shopping. They're the ones who like change, you know? But other than that, change is something, though, that, you know, there is no progress without change. And that's just the truth. And so there's also change that is not progress, though. And we have to guard against that. And so Purium is a reflection of a lifestyle. And that lifestyle is based on the belief that the answers that we seek, the questions of our body, are found in nature. So I'm going to say that again. The answers that we seek for the questions of our body are found in nature. Now, I love that song. What is it called? Colors in the Wind or something like that? You know, the Disney song where they say how every plant, from Pocahontas, exactly. So, you know, it's actually true, and I know as a phytochemist and as a intuitive healer that every plant does have its own spirit. Every plant has its own energy. Every plant has its own vibration. And I strongly believe in plant-based medicine. I strongly believe in this transformational effect that plants can have at the cellular level. And to understand cannabidiol is to understand cannabis itself, because cannabis is perhaps one of the longest cultivated plants in the history of mankind. I'm going to say that again. We think about wheat and barley as being the first things cultivated, and that's true as food. But things that were cultivated to be used as tools to make rope or things like that. So hemp was used early on, and man must have known something, because there are receptor sites in every region of our body for cannabidiol. Think about that. We are born. God put receptor sites in our body for cannabidiol. Now, if there's a plug in the wall, right, and it only could only power a certain instrument, like that special plug for your iPhone, right? Well, you can't put any other phone on that special plug for the iPhone. It's just for your iPhone or your iPad. Well, there's a receptor site, a receptor in our body specifically designed for the plug that is CBD. Think about that. Does that help you understand it a little bit better? Does explaining it that way help you understand it? And so all around our body are these lights that need to go on, these machines that need to be activated. They need to be charged up, and they're not being charged up because we're not receiving CBD. Now, we have receptor sites in our body for other things, as you know, proteins, carbohydrates, fats, vitamins, minerals, all these things we have receptor sites for. Why do we have receptor sites for those things? Because our body needs them. We do not have receptor sites in our body for things we don't need. Can I make that really clear? We don't have receptor sites in our bodies for things we don't need. So if we're going to provide the body with CBD, how are we going to do it, right? So there are a wide spectrum of cannabinoids or cannabinols, however you want to say it, in these plants, whether, like you said, genus, species. These are plants that come from the same mother, if you would. But one of them, which is colloquially called marijuana, which is just a made-up name. It isn't actually a scientific name. But that is a psychoactive and is oftentimes classified as a drug. In fact, in America right now, that is classified as a class 1 drug, the same as heroin, which is just insane. And if you read my book, this book, The Green Food Bible, I have an entire chapter where I sort of tell you about the history of hemp and how hemp was legal, and marijuana was in the general pharmacopoeia of America until 65 years ago. like into the late 1900s, 105 years ago. The change happened when hemp oil, and they wanted to sell cotton, and they wanted to sell soybeans, and they wanted to sell corn. And hemp competed with all three of those. Hemp had the seeds, it had the oil, it had the fibers, it could make cloth, it could make rope. Hemp was a threat because anyone could grow it anywhere for low cost. So there's certain conspiracies we don't think about. Like, that originally cars ran on alcohol. That's right. Cars ran on alcohol. And so they decided to team up with, I'm not going to say that they are, but they was the same people who made the cars. Okay? So our great Model T Ford, well, Mr. Ford went to war against people putting fuel into their own cars because they wanted to control the fuel. If you had a car, they wanted to sell you the fuel. It wasn't about selling you the car. That was a one-time sale. No, they needed to sell you fuel forever. But if you could have a still, and everybody did, right, Amy? No, I'm joking. So those Southern values, No, I'm joking. So if you could have a still, you had free gas. You know what I mean? You could turn potatoes into fuel, corn into fuel, decaying food into fuel. And so they said, you know what we need to do? Until we could figure out an engine that we could make it only run on genetically modified fuel, you know what I mean? If we could only change the fuel to where no one could make it themselves, to where they have to buy it from us. Are you seeing a pattern here, you guys? Yes. Okay? Because now we have genetically modified food for the same reason. They don't want you to grow it yourself. They want you to have to buy it from them. Okay? So this has been going on for a long time. So the reason they got together with Carrie Nation and had this elimination of alcohol had nothing to do with alcohol causing sin or all those other things they said. I'm not saying alcohol doesn't. I'm just saying that that's not the real reason why it happened. It happened because they wanted to control the fuel and get your money. And so what's happening today is something very similar. There is something really, really powerful about the vehicle that is CBD. It is so powerful that every human being benefits from it. Think about that. Every human being who takes it benefits from it. And for those who say it's psychoactive or makes you high, if you want to use that term, the opposite is true. If you smoke a bunch of weed and are feeling really high and you don't like that feeling, guess what you could do to not be high? CBD. It's the antidote for THC. It actually neutralizes the effect of it, and not just THC. Many other drugs can be tamped down, overdoses tamped down with CBD. It's a powerful, because remember, there's receptor sites everywhere in your body, so when you take it, it happens fast. Remember Amy's story? Immediate feeling. So I have my own testimonial. I hurt my back. I don't even know how. You know how when you get up really quick and turn at the same time, and all of a sudden you just go, oh, dang, right? And it really hurts. And I'm sitting there, and I'm going, I literally can't get off of the chair. Like, there's this just pain, and I'm like, my thought was, sometimes it's okay to take a Tylenol. That was the first thing that came into my mind, It's like, this is this. And then I said, no, stop thinking that way. That's that reptilian thinking, you know what I mean? Where you just go back to these patterns, because somehow they were imprinted in you. And so I said, no, we just got this CBD and I could reach the bottle from here. Tell me that there wasn't an angel in that room. I reach over, and I'm not gonna lie, I took 10, I had to be sure. I got up and walked across the room 3 minutes later. Not without pain. I'm not saying that it was like, woo, like somebody slapped me in the head and I rose from the dead. No, but 70% of the pain was reduced and I was able to walk across the room. Now, when this happened in the past, I would probably be mobile, protecting that pain somehow for 2 or 3 days, and it was over with. So, but the thing about CBD is, it's always Okay, so me and Amy used to always be concerned when people tried to sell us ginkgo biloba, because it could have been ginkgo leaf, it could have been ginkgo bark, it could have been ginkgo root, it could be an extract, it could be a whole plant, it could be a tincture. Ginkgo isn't just ginkgo, and CBD isn't just CBD. So when you want ginkgo, you want the ginkgo leaf, you want it to be an extract, you want it to be concentrated. When you want CBD, you have to look at what it is. So let's talk about the hemp plant. The hemp plant has a wide variety of beneficial compounds, a wide variety of them. And the peak, if you would, if you were to look at an HPLC chart and say what's most beneficial to the body, it is the CBD. But has anybody ever taken vitamin C and it's just ascorbic acid, right? That's not vitamin C. It's actually a synthetic form of vitamin C, but even if it was vitamin C, it couldn't work unless it had bioflavonoids in it. So now you see a lot of people say vitamin C plus bioflavonoids, right? Well, the bioflavonoids aren't as important as the vitamin C, but the vitamin C doesn't work without them, and that's called an entourage effect. It isn't just an isolated single thing. You need a spectrum of complementary compounds, and they sort of act like, you know how like the star has his band, you know, we got the lead singer, but they need their backup singers. Well, that's the same with plant medicine.
Whole food.
Yeah, it's a full spectrum approach, a whole food approach. Thank you. And so what a lot of people did in the science, the original studies, was an isolated CBD. So they take the CBD and they isolated it and they used it, and they found it had a number of benefits. Because of those studies, it's now potentially being used in pain treatment centers. It's potentially being used, to reduce stress, and studies about stress, and it's being studied for so many potential benefits. I'm not saying that it's going to prove out to be good for all of those things, but it's being studied for 1,000 different, human conditions because it has that much potential. They found in Tel Aviv, I think, or Tel Aviv University, was that when you had the full spectrum oil, more things happened. So if you had the full spectrum oil, not concentrated, actually more things happened in the body, but they couldn't happen as fast. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to create this new sort of compound that is unique to us, where we did 3 different things. You guys ready for a little bit of that explanation? You want to? So the first thing we did is we took that pure CBD extract, 99.95% pure, and we take that, and that is 25 milligrams of your 50 milligram serving is a pure CBD extract. Then we took hemp oil that was 35% CBD, and we removed 50% of the material in it that we didn't need. It could be some fats, some chlorophyll, some proteins, and there's a machine that strains those out, and when it does, what's left behind is a more concentrated version of the CBD, but it still has the full spectrum, right? But because we're punching out something, we're always worried that something will be missing, right? But we had to be able to concentrate it, and so we take that concentrate, which is about 68 to 72% CBD, and we use enough of it to give us another 25 milligrams of CBD. Now we're up to 50 milligrams of CBD. We've got the pure extract, we've got the 70% spectrum oil, and then we take and we put back in a full spectrum organic oil. Once we're guaranteed our 50 milligrams, then we put that into a base of full spectrum hemp oil. And now we've got 3 layers of protection. We guarantee we have enough of the CBD to have that impact on the body. We guarantee we have enough of the spectrum that's needed, what are called terpenes. You guys have heard of that, the terpenes, the terps, right? So we punch out everything that isn't like on the terpene level, so we concentrate the terpenes in, but then in case we miss something there, we put in a full spectrum oil as the base. So it's really, we worked on it. We think that we came up, and then I called about 5 or 6, and like Amy said, there's no experts yet. This is such a new science. People might know more than someone else, But in 1993, when Inc. magazine said that I was an expert in phytochemistry, compared to what I know now, I know nothing then. And they said I was a world-leading expert. And that's how fast the world changes. So the people who think they're experts today are going to be novices tomorrow because there's so much to learn. So I'm not going to profess to be an expert. So I did what I believed was the safest thing. All three levels to guarantee that you had all three spectrums. And here's the result. The result is that as a company, I think we're the first company that's ever done that. And most companies that dare to sell 1,500 milligrams, it's the pure isolate. They don't do what we do. And the people who don't do the pure isolate, they're selling, like Daniel said, their bottle says 350 or 500 or maybe 1,000, but the full spectrums are rarely. And when you do find a full spectrum of 1,500, look at the price, you guys. 2 to 3 times what we're charging. So we do things differently here. And so here's what I'd like you to do. I want you to ask, like, go on and do a survey on on your Instagram. You guys know how to do surveys on Instagram, or to just ask a question on Facebook is fine. But go on and ask your people, how do you feel about CBD? Tell me what you feel. If you had access to it, would you use it? And get the conversation started, you guys. Find out how many people think that they might need CBD. Just ask the question, is there anybody out there who thinks that they might need CBD? Call me. I've got a $50 gift card. You've got nothing to lose, But because it's such a new subject, you guys have questions. So I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear a testimonial, a question, or a comment. And then we've got just about 5 minutes. And so real quick, anybody with a question? No.
I have a testimonial.
Hold on 1 second. Because we're recording live, I don't know if this is conducive to that. So.
Stop the recording.
Yeah, we should probably. So bye to everybody who's live. Thank you for being with us. And if you were here right now, you would hear what we're about to talk about. So next.